Howdy, howdy. MTG tries again. Peach State Representative reintroduces articles of impeachment against Mayorkis. I personally think they should be concentrating on Joe Biden. Maybe they can kill two birds with one stone. This is the third time MTG has tried to get some momentum on a Mayorkis impeachment effort. Rather than adhering to an oath he took to defend and secure our country and uphold the Constitution when he was sworn in as Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkis has engaged in a pattern of conduct that is incompatible with the laws of the United States, reads the resolution. A DHS spokesperson offered comment to the Daily Caller on MTG's efforts. Secretary Mayorkis continues to be laser focused on the safety and security of our nation. This baseless attack is completely without merit and a harmful distraction from our critical national security priorities. Yeah. Wrote a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security to the Daily Caller News Foundation. Every day, the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security work tirelessly to keep America safe. They need Congress to stop wasting time and do its job by reforming our broken immigration system. Reauthorization vital tools for DHS and passing the administration's supplemental request to properly resource the department's critical work to stop fentanyl and further secure our borders. MTG shared the clip of her introducing the Article 9 of impeachment, Article 9 articles of impeachment on her X account, saying, breaking, I just introduced articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Mayorkis. While some members like Tom McClinton want to bloviate endlessly while imagining themselves wearing a powdered wig. The American people want action. You got that right. They need to get that guy out there. He's done or not done his job. He's just let so much shit happen. These members whine about due process while protecting Mayorkis from facing accountability for his violation of our border security laws. Impeachment is due process. It would put Mayorkis in front of the Senate to face trial. We've seen the evidence of him breaking the law. It's time for the Senate to try him for it. Today, I introduced my articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkis because impeachment is exactly what the founders intended for the House to do when a member of the executive branch intentionally violates the laws written by the legislation branch. You guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this. I think they do need to get rid of the guy. He's let too many people in here. We don't know who they are. I'm sure there's terrorist cells here now. Terrorists coming in. They've caught hundreds of them. What about the ones they haven't caught? But yeah, I think they need to get rid of the guy. Okay, NATO makes new Ukraine announcement. NATO has promised to develop a roadmap toward Ukraine's full interoperability with blocs militaries. While Kyiv has welcomed the announcement, it falls dramatically short of the membership invitation that President Vladimir Zelensky sought earlier this year. Excuse me. In a statement released after Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba met with his NATO counterparts in Brussels on Wednesday, the Western Alliance said that it is developing a roadmap for Ukraine's transition to full interoperability with NATO. NATO defines interoperability as the use of common weapons and equipment, tactics, and doctrine and terminology and communication standards to enable member states and their partners to operate on the battlefield together. We are pretty much becoming a de facto NATO army in terms of our technical capacity, management approaches, and principles of running an army, Kuleba said ahead of Wednesday's meeting. The statement made no mention of Ukraine joining NATO in the near future. Instead, it praised Kyiv's commitment to a package of political and military reforms, saying that these chances would help Ukraine on its path towards future membership in NATO. Kyiv has been bound to these reforms since NATO said in 2008 that Ukraine will become a member at an unspecified point in time. The country has not received a date for membership in the last 15 years. When NATO's annual summit began in July without a membership invitation, Zelensky accused the bloc of failing to show his country respect, adding that it was unprecedented and absurd for NATO to apply conditions to Ukraine's accessions, as admitting Ukraine during the ongoing conflict would draw the rest of the Western Bloc into open war with Russia. Zelensky relented and said that these conditions were understandable after he was rebuked by multiple Western diplomats and officials. Russia has repeatedly made it clear that Ukraine's membership in the NATO would be unacceptable to Moscow. Zelensky's top MP and former head negotiator in Istanbul, David Araktamaya, I know I didn't get that one right, admitted last week that Kyiv could have stopped the conflict in April 2022 by agreeing to the Russian demand for neutrality, but said that the West urged Ukraine to keep fighting instead. Wow. A lot of people would still be alive if they'd have stopped back then. And isn't somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't that why Putin attacked Ukraine to begin with? Because he's trying to get into NATO? I don't know. This world's crazy. Here's another wild one. With hospitals in China reportedly overwhelmed by a surge of mysterious childhood pneumonia cases. And as outbreaks begin to crop up in areas of the U.S., experts are weighing in on possible causes and recommendations. Oh, here we go again, huh? Put your mask on and hide inside your house. Dr. Sarah Park, Medical Director of Medical Affairs at Carios, a California biotech company, was formerly with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, as an epidemic intelligence service officer. She told Fox News Digital that the surge in respiratory illnesses, including cases of pneumonia, is primarily attributed to common pathogens like Mycoplasma pneumoniae, respiratory, whatever that word is, I ain't even going to try it, virus, and influenza virus. There is no indication of a novel virus causing these illnesses, said Park. She's contributed to combating diseases such as bacterial respiratory, West-Nile viruses, and SARS. The condition has been described as a white lung syndrome, which is a reference to the appearance of the chest scans that show diffusely damaged lungs, related to severe cases of pneumonia, Park noted. The increase in respiratory illnesses is believed to be due to a combination of factors. Respiratory illness typically surge in the colder months, but this has been compounded by a post-pandemic effect, according to experts. This is the first winter without strict COVID-19 measures, and that has likely led to increased exposure and susceptibility to common respiratory infections, Park said. Prolonged lockdowns and other COVID-19 containment measures have limited people's exposure to common pathogens, potentially reducing population immunity levels. So they're saying our immunity is down because we were stuck in the house for 2 years. While Park called the outbreaks concerning, she said there is no current indication that it represents a novel pathogen or a threat on the scale of a new pandemic. Yeah, that's what that sounds familiar, don't it? She added most of the reported pathogens are well known and typically manageable. Where are the outbreaks occurring? In China, ProMed, the global digital disease surveillance system, reported that the country's hospitals, primarily in Beijing, have been overwhelmed with sick children. as a result of the pneumonia outbreak. The Netherlands has also seen a surge during the week of November 13th through the 19th. There were 103 pneumonia cases for every 100,000 children between the ages of 5 and 14, according to the Netherlands Institute for Health Services. Excuse me. Some areas in the U.S. have also reported outbreaks or upticks in cases, including the states of Ohio and Massachusetts. Similar patterns of increased respiratory illness have been observed in other countries, including the U.S., after the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions, Park told Fox News Digital. I don't know, what do you guys think? I wouldn't be too concerned about it if it hadn't started in China. I mean, it's like, here we go again, another respiratory thing from China. That's crazy. Okay, Philadelphia on Thursday banned ski masks and other facial coverings in the city on the grounds that most crimes have been committed by suspects wearing them. The vote passed 13-2 despite some opposition. We must send a message that masks are no discernible public or private good when they just create fear and anxiety. The new law prohibits people from wearing ski masks in parks, schools, or on public transportation. Those caught wearing a ski mask could risk a $250 fine, $2,000 if committing a crime. The law allows some expectations for religious purposes. Who wears a ski mask for religious purposes? It has seen broad support from law enforcement opponents, such as the ACLU, have urged that it could violate free expression rights and unfairly target youth. The bill now goes to Mayor James Kenney's desk for his signature. Well, let me know what you think about that down in the comments. I think it's kind of makes sense. I don't know. But the headline on this was, as good cops flee progressive cities for conservative suburbs, doors open for unqualified candidates. Criminal justice experts are warning that progressive policies are discouraging qualified candidates from seeking employment in police departments and chasing good law enforcement officers out of the big cities, creating an opening for the wrong type of new blood. If we have the same mindset going into 2024, I think we are going to explode into a state of third world country anarchy that we've never seen before, said Megan McCarthy, a former San Bernardino County deputy who survived a shooting only to see a California jury acquit the suspect after his defense claimed he shot at her with her gun in self-defense. He took her gun from her and shot at her in self-defense. That's stupid. A neighbor captured the whole thing on cell phone video. McCarthy was the first deputy responding to a priority 1 call involving a schizophrenic man named Ari Young. As soon as she approached the house, he rushed her, pummeled her to the ground, and took her gun. He aimed at her and fired, but the weapon jammed. Damn. He scrambled to fire multiple shots, but none of them hit her. She had a broken thumb and a black eye before additional units arrived and arrested him on the spot. She was diagnosed with PTSD and retired from policing, and she says similar stress is driving record numbers of officers to suicide. 4 deputies in Los Angeles killed themselves in a 24-hour span last month. Chicago police lost 3 officers in the same week last year. I think it's important to reiterate the fact that good people aren't becoming cops anymore, she told Fox News. It's the people that you don't want becoming cops. They have lowered standards so that if you did cocaine 3 years ago, you can become a cop. California has made it so illegal immigrants can become police officers. Illegal immigrants? Really? Even though she was a victim, the system treated Young as if she'd acted improperly. She said she calls it the Minneapolis effect, blowback against law enforcement after George Floyd's death and police custody in 2020. Oh, wow, that's crazy. what do you guys think about illegal immigrants becoming police officers? Um, they're defunded them. They're letting all the criminals act any way they want to, so the police will get fed up and quit. Now they're letting criminals come in as police. I mean, where's this country going to, man? I pray to God that there's a Republican not only nominated but elected next year as president. I'm hoping it's Trump, but if it can't be Trump, at least be a Republican. Well, that's about it for today. If you guys got any comments, suggestions, constructive criticism, whatever, just let me know in the bottom. I'll check out my comments all the time. If you would please like, subscribe, and comment, that would help a lot. I'd really appreciate it. It'll help me grow my channel, which ain't growing too fast right now. But thanks again, and we'll see you next time.